I went to Harvard Conference, and here is what I really wish I knew before applying and deciding to go to this program. HPAIR is Harvard Program for Asian and International Relations, and it consists of 2 events. The first one usually happens in February, which is held in Harvard campus itself, and the second one usually happens around August in Asia. This year, for example, it was organized in Japan. This is a 3-day event, and it is a conference for anyone who is 18 and above, and most importantly, they do have scholarships, so if you cannot cover your expenses, you can apply for it and be able to get some funding to participate in the program. Before you even apply to any program, it is really important to learn about it and do your research. But now that I participated in the program, I can share. So this is a 3-day event, and day 1 is opening remarks plus I-night. So opening remarks is when usually they talk and welcome us to the conference. And I-night is a cultural night. So before the conference has begun, they sent the invitation for people to apply to be able to participate and perform actually in the cultural night. So me and my friend, for example, we applied and we were selected. They have mentioned that they will choose only 10 performances, and our performance was unique because she was from Kyrgyzstan and I was from Tajikistan, and there was a border conflict in our country, and we decided to dance together to promote friendship between our countries. So that was important for us because we didn't just want to perform, but we had the message that we want to send. And I guess that the organizers really liked our performance, and that's why we were chosen to participate. But I didn't really like that some countries were overrepresented. For example, there were some countries that had like 3 or 4 performances, whereas some countries didn't have any performances, which I really think the conference organizers should work on for the next time. That's basically it. And day 1 starts early morning, and that's when you have speaker sessions and you have panel sessions, discussions. After the speaker sessions, they divide people into groups with whom you will have to work on some cases. In our year, there were 2 problems. First one was related to fundraising, and the second one was related to climate change. Day 3 is pretty similar to day 2. Basically, you have couple information sessions, and after that you will get a chance to work with your team on the problem, and you will have to create a presentation, and by the end of the day you will have to present your case and the winners get something. In our case, the winners had a chance to work with those organizations that were presenting the cases and the problems. They were offering the internship and the opportunity to work on your case with the support of the organization. That's pretty much it, and at the end of the conference they will share which country was selected to organize the Asian conference. Now, how can you apply to this program? Admission process for Harvard Conference is pretty simple. First, you will have to submit the online application, and let me actually show you and let's look at it together. You will have to go to the website, click apply, and after that you will get this application. And as you can see, it's very simple. You will have to provide your personal information, you will have to submit your resume and choose if you're applying for scholarship or not. And here, as you can see, you will have to answer 3 of the essay questions. First one is for those who are applying for scholarship. So if you're not applying to the scholarship this year, you can skip that essay. That's it. You will have to submit this application, and once you're done with that, you will be invited to the interview. And that's where I'm a little bit concerned and confused, because their interview are different depending on the applicant. So sometimes they invite you to have an interview over Zoom or Google Meet, and sometimes they just ask you to record yourself and send it to them. Now let me tell you how did I get into the program myself, and a little bit of backstory. I applied to their Asian conference back in 2019. However, since I was applying for another exchange program, I couldn't go. And then I applied in 2023. I was invited to the interview. However, their interviewer simply forgot about our interview. First of all, he canceled. Second, he canceled again. And then they totally forgot about it. I was writing to their presidents. I was writing to their email. No one was replying to me until January. So it's been like 1 month of me not hearing anything from their program. And then the new person contacted me and said, let's do the interview. And after that, she asked me to just record myself and send it to them. Basically, I got an invitation and I didn't hear anything about the scholarship because they simply didn't do my interview. They invited and they simply forgot, and they stopped replying my questions. That was really sad, but I still decided to go to this program by funding my own trip, and when I applied for visa, I got rejected. And if you want to learn like how did that interview go and what mistakes I made, please watch the video that I have about that experience with visa application. You have to really watch it to not make those mistakes. But then I decided to reapply in 2024 to be able to go in 2025, and the process was pretty simple. I didn't even have to apply since they just invited me as I was selected in the previous year. I did the fundraising and TikTok actually paid for my entire trip. And this is a very long story, so if you're interested in knowing like how I did the fundraising and how TikTok paid for my trip to this conference, please write in the comments and I will make another video. And that's it. I finally got my visa. I was selected for the program and my friend was selected for the program, so we were going to this conference together. Now you already know that you can apply for scholarship, but if you're thinking to go on your own, let me tell you how much money will you probably spend. I will share my personal expenses and yours must be somewhat similar. First thing first is participation. If you're applying in early bird, it will cost around $500. If you apply in the regular bird, you will have to pay $600. Accommodation for 3 nights at least, it was around $400. And here I would highly recommend to reserve your hotel as soon as possible, because I reserved it a week before or a couple days before the conference, and there was almost no space since there will be like a lot of people coming from different countries to participate in the program. Most of the hotels will be full. We were really lucky to find a room, but then it cost twice more than what we would pay if we would do it earlier. For me, the cost of flight was between $1,000 to $2,000, but I had a special discount, so I paid a lot less. And the visa application fees were $190. Plus, I had to fly to Kazakhstan. I'm from Tajikistan and I couldn't apply in Tajikistan since there were no slots left, and the flights, accommodation and all the other expenses were around $500. So I would say maybe $3,000 to $4,000. And of course the expenses might be a lot less. It really depends on where you're coming from. So just make sure that you have enough funds before applying and before deciding to go to this program. The officers will be really interested to know how are you funding your trip. So you will have to be able to prove that you have the amount of money that you need for this program. Now let me tell you if the program met my expectations. But here it is really important to know my background, because I graduated from the university and I participated in like lots of conferences in my own country and abroad. I also had a couple of years of experience of working before coming to this conference. Of course, they announced that anyone can apply and join the conference. However, I think students would get the most out of this conference. Even when you're participating in the hackathon, you will be fighting to get the internship. And if you're working or if you're graduated from the university, this is not something that you would be really fighting for. So I would definitely say that if I would join the conference as a university student, I would get a lot more benefit than I got as a graduate of the university. And during the conference, when I was talking to different people, many people were saying that they had higher expectations and it didn't really meet them. So I guess here it's important for the conference organizers to have a stronger team, to work more on their communication between each other, because even the first day, they were very, very late. And especially people are coming from different countries and they're having jet lag. I personally had the jet lag. So I was just sitting and it was 9 p.m. It started at 8, I guess. And I was like just falling asleep during the night when everyone had their performance. And I was like realizing that I have to go to the stage and I have to perform. And I'm like very tired, very sleepy. And I was about to say, okay, no, I don't want to do this performance. And even worse, a lot of people started leaving the day one a lot earlier since they started late. It was obvious that people are really tired. They had this jet lag, as I've mentioned. So a lot of people left. I know it happens in many conferences, and especially with the program like this, it's really hard to manage everything and manage all these students coming from different countries with different backgrounds. But despite that, I really hope that they use it as a learning experience. And this year, next year, hopefully the conference will be a lot more organized. Like I said, I had a little bit of negative experience since the first time I applied to the Harvard conference. But this is my experience and it shouldn't influence you to make your decision. I know that different people in different age gaps have completely different experience. So I would highly still recommend you to apply to this program. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the comments and I will be really happy to reply. Thank you so much for watching this video and I wish you all good luck with your applications to the HPAIR Conference.